When Cristiano Ronaldo returned to Manchester United in 2021, almost nobody wanted to question it. Why would they? One of the greatest players in the club's history was coming home. He was still scoring goals at the highest level. Manchester City had been interested in signing him, and United had just finished second in the Premier League. Then Ronaldo walked back into Old Trafford, scored twice against Newcastle on his second debut, and suddenly the whole thing looked perfect. But just over a year later, he was gone. His relationship with Erik Ten Hag had broken down. He refused to come on against Tottenham, and a few weeks later he gave an interview openly criticising the manager and the club. So how did something that felt so right become such a mess? The easy answer is to blame Ronaldo. Another easy answer is to blame Manchester United. I don't think either one explains it properly. Ronaldo scored 24 goals in his first season back, so this was not simply a case of an old player who could no longer perform, but United were also going through changes that made his return harder to manage than anyone expected. The club he came back to was nothing like the one he had left. And by the time Ten Hag arrived, Ronaldo and Manchester United were heading in very different directions. That is where the reunion really started to break. To understand why Ronaldo's return became so complicated, we need to remember where Manchester United were before he arrived. This was not a team sitting near the bottom of the table looking for anything that might save them. United had finished third in 2019-20 Premier League season and then moved up to second the following season with 74 points. They also reached the Europa League final. Ole Gunnar Solskjær still had plenty of critics, but there was at least a feeling that the team was improving. Bruno Fernandes had become the main creative player, while Rashford carried a lot of the threat in attack. Greenwood was still growing into the side, and Cavani gave Solskjær another option through the middle. United then added Sancho and Varane in the summer of 2021. The idea seemed simple. Improve an attack that already had young talent, add experience at the back, and try to close the gap to Manchester City. Then Ronaldo became available, and the summer changed completely. Ronaldo had entered the final year of his contract at Juventus. Near the end of August 2021, it became clear that he wanted to leave. Manchester City were seriously interested. For United supporters, the thought of Ronaldo wearing a City shirt was hard to accept. United stepped in, and within a very short time, the move turned around. Instead of joining City, Ronaldo was going back to Old Trafford. Sir Alex Ferguson also spoke with him during that period.
Did you speak to him before you
Yes, I
came
did. Yes, I did. I spoke with him, and
What did he say to you to try and persuade you?
he said to me that it's impossible for you to come to Manchester City. And I say, okay, boss. So I took the decisions, and I repeat I was with conscience that it was a good decision.
The transfer was announced on August 27th and completed a few days later. From a football point of view, there was plenty to like. Ronaldo had just scored 29 Serie A goals for Juventus. But there is still a fair question about how much planning went into the move. United had already done most of their business, and there had been no real sign that another centre-forward was the main priority. Then Ronaldo suddenly became available. United were faced with a decision they probably never expected to make. Do they watch one of their greatest players possibly join Manchester City or bring him home? Emotionally, the answer was easy. The football side was harder, because Ronaldo was not someone you could simply add to the squad and carry on as before. Solskjær now had to find a place for him. Ronaldo's second debut could hardly have gone better. United played Newcastle at Old Trafford on September 11th, 2021, and he scored twice in a 4-1 win.
And I'm here to win, to help them to win. I think we have a fantastic team, great potential, and we need to build up confidence, and Manchester needs to be where they deserve.
Then came the Champions League. He scored deep into stoppage time to beat Villarreal, completed United's comeback against Atalanta at Old Trafford, and rescued a draw away in Italy with 2 more goals. He also scored again when United beat Villarreal away and secured a place in the knockout stage. These goals mattered. They were changing results, not just making comfortable wins look better. His Premier League record was strong as well. Ronaldo scored 18 league goals, with only Mohamed Salah and Son Heung-min finishing ahead of him. Across all competitions, he ended with 24 and won Manchester United's Sir Matt Busby Player of the Year award. So if you only looked at Ronaldo's numbers, the signing seemed easy to defend. The problem was that United as a team were moving in the opposite direction. United had finished second the year before, but during the first half of the 2021-22 season, they began losing control of matches far too easily. A 4-2 defeat at Leicester was followed by the 5-0 loss to Liverpool at Old Trafford. Manchester City then won 2-0 at the same ground, and the performance made the score look generous to United. A few weeks later, Watford beat them 4-1. Solskjær was gone. The problems were all over the pitch. Teams were playing through United's midfield too easily. The defence looked unsure, and the press rarely worked as one unit. When a game started going badly, United often had no way to slow it down and take control again. After Solskjær left, Michael Carrick took charge for a short period before Ralf Rangnick arrived. That meant another set of ideas for a squad that already looked confused. Rangnick wanted more organisation without the ball, but United never really became the team he wanted. By the end of the season, they had fallen from 74 points to 58 and finished 6th. Ronaldo was not the reason for every one of those problems, but his arrival had changed something important in Solskjær's attack, and that deserves its own discussion. Before Ronaldo came back, Solskjær had more freedom with his front line. Players could move between positions, attack space, and change roles during matches. Ronaldo offered something very different. At 36, he was no longer the winger who used to attack fullbacks during his first spell at United. His game had moved much closer to goal. He wanted to get into the box, find shooting positions and finish attacks. That made sense because finishing was still one of his biggest strengths. But once United had a striker like that, the players around him had to change too. Bruno had to get used to different movements ahead of him, while the wide players had to think more about feeding one clear centre forward. Solskjær also had less freedom to change the striker position because Ronaldo was expected to start the biggest matches. Solskjær later said the signing changed the team more than he expected.
It was a very quick decision, and we didn't think Cristiano was available and didn't think he was going to move. When it became apparent that he was leaving Juventus, obviously there was other clubs wanting him. I was excited, so I said yes. They asked me, would you want us to try this? And I said, yeah, because obviously we know Cristiano is quality. And I thought, yeah, he's 37, but we'll have to manage, because obviously he's the best goal scorer in the world. And it was my decision. It didn't work out for me, it didn't work out for Cristiano, but it was the right.
He also spoke about United working towards a stronger pressing style before Ronaldo arrived. The problem was not that Ronaldo suddenly forgot how to play football. Solskjær now had to choose between the style he had been building and getting the most from his new striker. United leaned towards Ronaldo. That helped him score goals, but it did not always help the team around him. There was another problem that had nothing to do with formations. Cristiano Ronaldo brings attention that very few footballers can match. Before his return, Bruno was probably the biggest figure in United's attack. Once Ronaldo arrived, that changed immediately. Every decision involving him became a story. If he scored, the conversation became about how Ronaldo was saving United. If he did not, people started asking whether the team would be better without him. Even leaving him on the bench became news before the match had started. That put Solskjær in a difficult position. Managers need to make changes based on form, fitness, and the opponent. With Ronaldo, even a normal selection decision could turn into the biggest talking point of the week. That pressure did not cause United's collapse, but it made an already difficult job even harder. And when Erik Ten Hag arrived, he had no reason to treat Ronaldo according to what he had done for Manchester United 15 years earlier. He had his own team to build. Ten Hag took over in the summer of 2022 after United had finished 6th. He was not joining a team that needed one or two small changes. There was a lot to fix. He wanted better control with the ball, more organisation without it, and a team that could press together. Ronaldo was still part of the squad, and Ten Hag publicly said he was in his plans.
We are planning with Cristiano Ronaldo for this season, so that's it. And I'm looking forward to work with him.
So it would be wrong to say the manager arrived wanting him gone. The problem was that Ronaldo wanted to leave. Reports at the time said his desire to keep playing Champions League football was one of the main reasons. United had only qualified for the Europa League. That tells you a lot about where both sides were. Ronaldo was 37 and thinking about the little time he had left at the top. Ten Hag had just started a job that was going to take time. One wanted to compete at the highest level immediately, while the other had inherited a team that needed rebuilding. That gap was already there before the season even started. Liverpool should enjoy open matches. When the other team pushes forward, there is more space to attack. That gives Isak room to run and gives Wirtz more time on the ball. The harder games will be against teams that sit deep. At Anfield, many opponents will be happy to defend with numbers behind the ball and make Liverpool do all the work. That changes the game. Isak has less room behind the defence and Wirtz will often receive the ball with several players around him. Liverpool will then need more patience. They have to move the ball from side to side, wait for gaps to appear and make the right runs at the right time. This is where Iraola will be tested in a different way. His teams are usually very good when matches become fast and open, but Liverpool will also need to win slower games where the other team refuses to take risks. If Iraola can solve that problem, Liverpool will be much harder to stop. This is why Iraola's first season matters so much. Liverpool have already shown that they believe in the main players. Now the manager has to prove that belief makes sense. He has a squad with enough quality to compete. What he needs is a team that knows how to use that quality properly. That means getting Wirtz involved in the right areas, keeping Isak fit, finding an answer on the right and making sure the fullbacks do not leave the defence exposed. If those things improve, Liverpool could look very different from last season. If they do not, the club will have much bigger decisions to make next summer. So this is not just another season under a new manager. It is the season where Liverpool find out whether this version of the team is worth continuing with. Do you think Iraola can make it work? Or do Liverpool still need bigger changes? Tell me in the comments. And if you enjoyed the video, hit the like button and subscribe for more football discussions like this. So this is not just another season under a new manager. It is the season where continuing with. Do you think On October 19th, 2022, Manchester United played Tottenham at Old Trafford. United won 2-0 and produced one of their best performances under Ten Hag up to that point. But the match became remembered for what happened on the bench. Ronaldo had not started. Late in the game, Ten Hag wanted to bring him on. Ronaldo refused and left before the final whistle. That changed the situation. Before Tottenham, people could argue about team selection. Afterwards, there was a much simpler issue. The manager had asked a player to enter the match and the player had said no. Ten Hag later confirmed what happened.
Erik, did he refuse to come onto the pitch on Wednesday night?
Yes, I'm here the manager. I'm responsible for the top sport culture here. And I have to set standards and values, and I have to control them.
United removed Ronaldo from the squad for the next match against Chelsea, and he trained away from the first team. The manager had to respond. If he allowed one player to refuse an instruction without any punishment, every other player would see it. At that point, this was no longer a debate about who should start up front. It had become a problem inside the dressing room. Tottenham did not end the relationship straight away. Ronaldo came back into the squad and started against Sheriff in the Europa League, where he scored in a 3-0 win. For a short time, it looked like both sides might move on. Then came the Piers Morgan interview in November 2022.
For example, in the national team, the other clubs, if the coach wants to put me 5 minutes, if someone injured or if they really need me, I will help. But in that way, I felt provoked. Not only because of that game, but before some.
He was deliberately provoking you.
Well, everyone know that.
Disrespecting you, think.
Exactly. This is why I say I don't have respect for him because he don't show me respect for me.
That took the disagreement outside the club. Players and managers fall out all the time. Most of those arguments stay private. This one was now happening in front of everyone. Ten Hag was trying to take control of a dressing room that had already gone through several difficult seasons. Continuing as normal after one of the biggest players in the squad had publicly said he did not respect him was almost impossible. On November 22nd, Manchester United announced that Ronaldo would leave by mutual agreement with immediate effect. Just over a year after his return, it was over. The first time Ronaldo joined Manchester United, the timing worked. He was young, improving quickly, and playing for a club that was competing for the biggest trophies. His second spell came at a very different moment. Ronaldo was near the end of his career, while United were trying to repair years of poor decisions. The club needed time, but Ronaldo did not have much time left to wait. Once Ten Hag arrived, that difference became even harder to manage. The manager needed freedom to build something new, while Ronaldo still wanted a role that matched the player he had been for almost his entire career. For a short time, those two things could exist together. Eventually, they could not. And that is why I do not think the second spell failed because Ronaldo was finished or because United were completely wrong to bring him back. The timing simply did not fit. Ronaldo returned expecting to help a team compete at the top. Instead, he found himself inside another rebuild. Manchester United brought back a superstar. Less than 18 months later, they needed him to accept being one option in a changing team. That was the part neither side ever managed to solve. So what do you think? Was Ronaldo treated unfairly during his second spell at Manchester United? Or did his own decisions make the breakup impossible to avoid? Tell me in the comments. And if you enjoyed the video, hit the like button and subscribe for more football stories like this.